Who's the character everyone loves but is actually annoying? Frosty the Snowman. I can't explain, but that one gets on my nerves big time. Jerry from Tom and Jerry. Exactly. Tom has suffered too much because of this dirty little mouse. I have found my people. I always rooted for Tom as a young nipper. Sheldon Cooper. Every character from that show is a terrible trope. The one that gets me is Howard. The guy blows straight past creepy into a straight-up sex offender. There are throwaway lines about how he put webcams into teddy bears that he gave Penny, and he just chuckles, and the conversation carries on. There are scenes where he uses various cameras to look up people's skirts or down their tops, separate scenes. The dude isn't, as the show puts it, when Penny gives him a dressing down, a little peculiar. Dude should be in prison. Peppa Pig. At the end of the day, she's a spoiled little brat, like Caillou. Caillou is a despicable, spineless 4-year-old boy who cannot do anything. He can't grow hair, not because he has cancer or progeria, but because he sucks, and even his own body recognizes that he does not deserve hair or food or love. Peter Griffin. I don't know how Lois does it. His stupidity would have had me packing it up a long time ago, but as a viewer, it's hilarious. Seasons 1 through 4, Peter was the best. You can tell he's dim-witted, but he is a decent person at heart. Not sure where they went wrong after that. Lorelei Gilmore. I'm convinced there are 3 phases of watching Gilmore Girls. Phase 1 is when you're just starting out, and Rory's grandparents are meant to be the baddies for trying to manipulate Rory's life via their contract with Lorelei. Phase 2 is when you start to realize that Richard and Emily are just acting like grandparents, and it's really Lorelei who's at fault for letting Rory grow up with virtually no responsibilities and no actual parental figure to speak of. Phase 3 is when you get close to the end of the show, or make it to the sequel, and you realize that Rory is the worst, most selfish goddamn person on the planet who has made the lives of everyone around her worse. She has learned absolutely nothing. She hasn't grown up at all, and she can't fathom why the world won't just give her what she thinks she deserves. I am rewatching the series for the umpteenth time right now, but first time as a mom. My husband and I had this literal conversation last week. He pointed out how Mitchum was made out to be the bad guy for saying Rory doesn't have what it takes to be a journalist, and how spot on that was. Also, I have been quick to realize how toxic/codependent Lorelei and Rory's relationship is. Lorelei proclaims multiple times that Rory is her best friend and that they are friends first, mother-daughter second. Personally, I think this tracks perfectly with grown-up Rory's success or lack thereof. Any child on the Disney Channel. They all just do whatever they want, ignoring authority figures, and it always works out for them. This isn't how life works. Well, yeah, it is an escapist fantasy for preteens after all. Where are Max and Ruby's parents? And that's how we get Ruby. SpongeBob. I'm more of a Squidward guy. He's more realistic and the type of dude I'd take a hit with. You either die SpongeBob or live long enough to become Squidward. Or you're Patrick your whole life. Dobby from Harry Potter. Lots of people seem to love him, but I honestly just thought he was annoying as hell. Actually pissed a friend off in the theater because I chuckled when he died. LOL. Dobby is part of a bigger problem with the books overall, and it's because of the way the books are written. A big storyline of Book 4, Goblet of Fire, is Hermione fighting for house elves' rights or freedom. Essentially, she is trying to tell everyone in the school slavery is bad, they should be free. Nearly every single person she tries to get to join her replies with, "They're house elves. They're genuinely enjoying being bossed around." Context on Dobby: 1. His masters are the Malfoy family, who are written to be the racist, elitist assholes. 2. Dobby knows that the Malfoy family are planning things that are going to harm Harry. 3. Dobby takes his own initiative to warn Harry and prevent him from going to school that year. Dobby represents the opposite of everything magical-born people think about house elves. He has a mind of his own, with wants and needs, and he actively works against his masters. Every other house elf in the book is written the opposite of Dobby. 1. Kreacher loves his family, even though they are terrible people, and continues to show loyalty to them and borderline worship them after they all die. 2. Winky is so devoted to her former master that she becomes an alcoholic once she's set free. 3. All of the house elves in the kitchens of Hogwarts enjoy working there. Dobby, in the entire course of the series, is the only house elf that is shown to want independence and freedom. All the others are written the exact way magical-born people describe them. They genuinely enjoy serving people. So at this point, as a reader, what are you supposed to think? 1. All house elves have free will and thoughts of their own and should be free? Or 2. All house elves enjoy being slaves except Dobby, but that's probably because Dobby had crappy people as his masters. That is a toxic way to handle slavery. Ross and Rachel from Friends. They are actually very toxic for each other and anyone who's involved in their friend/lovers drama. Fully expected Meredith Grey to be near the top of this list. She's sulky, self-absorbed, and petulantly self-righteous. I don't think I've ever hated a character more. While she did become a derogatory pop culture slang term with her pick-me speech, Ellen has said in interviews that she hated that speech. Minions. I need to read some kind of scientific study on how they became so ubiquitous in crappy boomer memes about Wine Time Fridays or how kids don't respect their elders anymore. I freaking hated Piper in Orange is the New Black. To be honest, that whole show was a crap show and I don't know why it was such a zeitgeist when it was coming out. I think the show's biggest failing was not really leaning into the Piper is horrible, and that's the whole point of it all. So I just asked my wife this question and she immediately said Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street. I absolutely had to ask why that was, and she said when she was a child she loved Big Bird, and she always wanted to be Big Bird's best friend. But she felt like Snuffleupagus was always in the way, because on the show, Big Bird would always say Snuffy was his best friend. She even told me that till this day she had a minor hatred for woolly mammoths because they remind her of Snuffleupagus. Learn something new in marriage every day. Tweety Bird from the Looney Tunes. So much self-conscious cuteness, plus he stirs up crap to play the victim. The real world has enough manipulative characters. I don't need one in my cartoons. Same with the Goofy Gophers from Looney Tunes. They destroyed and stole crops and did nothing but cause crap. And Jerry from Tom and Jerry. Get lost, Jerry. Raymond. Was he supposed to be likable? The way he never defended his wife from his horrible, manipulative, narcissistic mother was rough. I have no history with that kind of thing, but I still found all of them to be unbearable. Gina Linetti. Yes, she has some funny lines here and there, but my god, she has a trash personality. Isn't that the point of the character? Ted from How I Met Your Mother. What's even worse, if we adhere to the structure of the show, this is his own retelling of himself. Have you heard the unreliable narrator theory? In Ted's retelling to his kids, he makes Barney out to be way worse and more disgusting. It explains the last-second pivot of Barney to a family man. Ted is trying to reconcile the good father his kids have met with the cartoonish sexist he's portrayed him as. Ted wants his kids to sympathize with his pursuit of Robin and demonize the man he has consciously or subconsciously viewed as a romantic rival for most of his adult life. And even then, Ted comes across as a douche. The whole group smokes cigarettes, but you never see it except for when they do a callback on them trying to quit. You never see it, and it's not talked about because Ted leaves that out in his stories. Serena from Gossip Girl. This girl has no self-control. She's always hooking up with someone, even if they're married. Nate's cousin and Nate himself, like he was just like her for cheating on Blair. She has the style and the look for the Stan factor, and that's it. I don't think there's a single character in Gossip Girl that doesn't showcase extremely toxic and psychotic behavior at one point or another. It gets really hard to stand any of them towards the end, but I think that's the point. I hate that stupid talking orange and all his fruity pals so much. Zenitsu from Demon Slayer. Not sure how loved he is, honestly. I just remember a family member saying her kids love him and so do all of her friends. But yeah, the constant annoying whining/yelling thing, holy crap, no. Zenitsu has consistently placed near the top of the popularity polls and won at least one, but those are also based on polling the manga readers, where the characters have a distinct advantage that you can't hear him. My husband and I are watching Malcolm in the Middle for the first time. Neither of us watched it as kids, and it has brilliant writing and is consistently laugh-out-loud funny. But damn, if Malcolm is not one of the most trash characters I've ever seen. It's brutal. There's an episode where he recognizes that he's an annoying know-it-all and tries to shut his mouth for a while, but it nearly kills him. I'm an Olaf hater. A friend of mine has had nightmares of it after a 6-hour car journey where his nephew played it on a loop. Ross from Friends. He plays his character so well. Talented actor. Frank Gallagher from Shameless. While not everyone loves him, enough used to find him relatable that they'd forget the guy is a selfish, xenophobic, vengeful person and would always act like he was such a cool bro character. Get lost, Frank Gallagher. Fez from That 70s Show. I just don't laugh when he's on screen. He's creepy and perverted. Honorable mention for Donna. She has some great qualities, but she definitely has a tendency to take things too personally at times and cause unnecessary fights with Eric as a result. Seriously. Eric asked her how he was supposed to know if she felt left out if he hung out with his guy friends, and she said, "You'll know afterward when I'm upset." Like, come on, he's trying to be considerate and to find a balance between his relationship and his friends, and she doesn't even try to communicate about it. The whole cast of The Big Bang Theory. Bernadette went from Amy-like to dominatrix. What happened? They also just kept making her voice higher. At first, she had a regular voice that was on a higher range. Now it sounds so shrill and unbearable. She seemed kind of cool at first, but then they made her into another bitter mom, haha marriage bad, kids bad type. I don't know if you would call him a character, but I hate Bam Margera. I'm pretty sure Bam Margera hates Bam Margera. People from Manifest, mostly Ben and Michaela. Lily from How I Met Your Mother. I feel like her character was very bland and had no specific traits that weren't just traits of Allison Hannigan. Marshall had very goofy jokes and standards. Ted was virtuous and corny. Robin was very headstrong and direct. Barney was childish and extremely emotional underneath, but Lily has no overarching qualities. I thought she was manipulative and always made Marshall's life harder, e.g. dumping him, the story with the captain, and her financial issues. Everyone's portrayal in that show is a reflection of how Ted perceived them. All their traits are over-exaggerated because that's the kind of storytelling. Lily's portrayal, in particular, was extremely harsh because Marshall was Ted's best friend. How I Met Your Mother went 100 to 100 on the unreliable narrator trope, and stuck with it consistently throughout all of the seasons. Barney didn't actually have a bed, which threw one-night stands away into the garbage bin. Marshall didn't actually believe in Bigfoot or Area 51. He was a Bible-thumping Christian from the rural Midwest. Ted's cop ex-girlfriend didn't actually set fire to his apartment. Robin didn't actually keep 5 giant dogs in a 2-bedroom Manhattan apartment. That's why How I Met Your Mother was such a brilliant show. They took all the silly, stupid, and annoying things about sitcoms and wrapped them in a very clever narrative gimmick. It allowed viewers to suspend their disbelief. You found Lily annoying because she was written to be annoying. A fictional character like Ted would have found a fictional character like Lily annoying. I found her annoying, but knowing that I was supposed to find her annoying somehow made it okay. This is my time. Elena Gilbert from The Vampire Diaries. Izzy Stevens from the early seasons of Grey's. She's so whiny and self-centered, it drives me bonkers when some find her so wholesome. George, too. He's everyone's favorite, but he was an asshole. Suki Stackhouse in both the books and the show. I stopped after book 7 out of 13 because I couldn't stand her anymore. Not even my normal genre of books, but I gave them a shot when a friend begged me to at least read the first one. All I saw of the show was when I was at that friend's house because she always had it on. Homer Simpson. He had moments of being a good person, but in later seasons his worst traits became so amplified. It's ironic that Homer Simpson's character became a victim of flanderization. Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. Such a ridiculously awful human being who is constantly rewarded and validated for being a selfish, entitled brat. Ferris Bueller. Stuart Little. Stupid little rat taking the place of some poor little orphan. Maybe the parents didn't really want a commitment. A rat lifespan is like 2 years. Definitely SpongeBob. As a kid, I was confused why Squiddy was so furious and exhausted of him. But as I grew up, I completely understood and sided with Squid. Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. It's one thing to be ridiculously smart. It's another to browbeat everyone with it and force conformity amongst your peers. He goes out of his way to be cruel and spiteful in how he treats his friends. It is disgusting. I sat through 2 episodes of Big Bang Theory and it was torture. Sheldon single-handedly killed any interest I had in the show and its spin-off. Elle from Stranger Things. I've realized after season 4 that this show has a protagonist problem. All the supporting characters are great. Steve, Robin, Dustin, Max, Bob from season 2, Alexei from season 3, and the Russian guard from season 4, and even villains like Billy. But every time they pick a protag, Mike in season 1, Elle thereafter, it feels like that character ends up becoming a boring, one-note character. I guess Hopper is the exception. Their slightly oddball characters are all generally likable and enjoyable. Steve, Dustin, Robin, Eddie, Murray, Bob, etc. Their earnest, serious characters are all largely a bit annoying and unenjoyable. Mike, Elle, Will, Nancy, Jonathan. Some of them are intentional. I get that Elle or Will are all dealing with serious childhood trauma, for example, but I wish they could write those characters in a way that I enjoy watching, rather than just waiting for the next scene with Steve. I will say that I always enjoyed Max's scenes, so that is maybe one exception. Kevin Hart. Snow White. Every version. I hated her since before I knew I could hate. Get lost, you saccharine dumbass. Cam in Modern Family. He's just so whiny and dramatic. Marinette from Miraculous Ladybug. If the roles were reversed, Adrian having pictures of Marinette pretending they have a whole life planned, etc., would make him a creep. Marinette is a creep. Rachel Berry from Glee. Everyone in the show acts like she is so amazing, but she is so self-absorbed. She tricked a girl into going to a crack house so she wouldn't join the club because Rachel was scared she would be better. Plus, so many of the other characters were just as good at singing, if not better, like Mercedes and Santana, but Mr. Shu was just obsessed with her. He's also so creepy, but I don't want to get into all that, so she always got all of the solos. The performance where she wasn't allowed to participate is probably my favorite, since the other kids are so good. Mercedes even calls Mr. Shu out on his blatant favoritism, such as when she deserved to be Maria in West Side Story. But he instead wanted the girls to share the role because he couldn't bear not picking Rachel. But the show was just not self-aware enough to stop favoriting her. Leslie Knope. When I started watching Parks and Recreations, I thought she was meant to be completely toxic, but then I started seeing people identifying with her all over the place. So just me, maybe? Andy Bernard. Jess from New Girl. The best episodes of New Girl are the ones where she's on jury duty and isn't in them. Miriam Maisel from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That people like the character at all is entirely a testament to Rachel Brosnahan's brilliant acting. When judged by her actions alone, Midge is a privileged, sheltered, borderline alcoholic who destroys lives on the regular and suffers no consequences, never learns from her mistakes, never grows or changes in any noticeable way, and has no self-awareness, nor awareness in general of how her life choices affect and hurt those around her. My god, I mean, she outs a gay black man on a national stage in the early 60s, and yet the character tries to guilt-trip Shy Baldwin into thinking he was somehow the one in the wrong in that situation. I may have watched the show a little too much, lol. Rewatched Saved by the Bell, and Zach is annoying. Michael Scott. If you understood my sheer hatred of him and his dumbass antics, he's not a lovable dad character who loves his coworkers. He's an entitled, narcissistic, parasocial douchebag who only looks out for himself. Remember Scott's Tots? That was the episode that truly made me hate him. I never found him lovable or goofy. I always found him insufferable and annoying. I get it. I don't like him either. Cringe humor is not my thing. But that's supposed to be his character. He's not supposed to be likable. He's supposed to be a grown man who acts like a toddler. I think his character is a catalyst for others. Alex from Modern Family. Her character's personality didn't add any entertainment to the show. She was a smart, pretentious bully with no witty lines. Just cringy, unoriginal insults with no growth. Such a waste of potential for the show. I wonder if she pissed off the writers at some point. ITT. Annoying characters that are meant to be annoying and are generally disliked by most people. Sasuke Uchiha. Lorelei Gilmore from Gilmore Girls. I love the show, but she can be so annoying. The way she treats her parents and jumps from man to man, she coddles her daughter so much in high school and college that in the Gilmore Girl revival, she was a 30-year-old with no job or purpose in life. Everyone thinks the mother-daughter duo is so cute, but it's annoying because she really held back her daughter from growing up, facing failures head-on and adulting. Janice from Friends. It's a given she's most certainly one of the most annoying characters in television's history, but I know a lot of people really liked her and also that she pulled off her character's brilliance with ease and natural finesse. Buddy from the film Elf. I frankly don't care for many characters Will Ferrell has ever played. The Gilmore Girls. And I love that show because they are so annoying. Charles from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He was always in Jake's business and so annoying, but when Jake got into his business regarding his adopted son, he got mad. He forced himself into Rose's business when she was on the phone with her girlfriend before she came out as bi. When his dog died, he refused to do any work and tried to make Rosa feel bad for needing him to get his head in the game to work a case. I get you needing time to grieve when your dog dies. I'm just saying he should have taken time off instead of coming to work and not doing anything. Finally, his lisp is so annoying. It's bad enough that he is this needy, irritating, unsure idiot, but he has a whole lisp. I hate hearing him speak. I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Charles Boyle is the worst and needs to go. You make some valid points, but Gina was far more annoying. But at least she actually did go. Harley Quinn might not be so loved anymore. I find Phoebe from Friends extremely annoying. Any tsundere ever. In animation, it looks cute because we, as the viewer, already know both sides of the equation. But in real life, that would be the kind of person I'd want to smack the snot out of. The host from Is It Cake? Scrappy Do. Literally no one liked Scrappy Do. Jim Halpert is okay at times, but he's often just an annoying smug asshole and bully. Ross from Friends, he's whiny, pushy, and just plain annoying. I just don't get why people like him. Walter White from Breaking Bad. I just started. I don't think people love him as a character, it's more how epic the acting and writing is. Walter is actually a villain and hurts and uses everyone around him. Goku. Even as a kid, I found him obnoxious, except in Dragon Ball. His behavior there was more understandable. But as an adult, Goku is just disappointing and really selfish when it comes to fighting with his family, especially his kids. Hyde from That 70s Show. Everyone seems to love him, but I just found him to be a crappy dude. Pete Davidson. Pretty much the entire cast of How I Met Your Mother. I wouldn't want to be friends with any of them. Donna from Doctor Who. I love her entire season, I love the dynamic, every episode is fantastic. I just can't stand her. I don't know either. Jim and Pam from The Office. Papa and Mama Bear from the Berenstain Bears. The dad is a man-child lout, and the mom is a control freak stick-in-the-mud who has done questionable crap with her temper and has never apologized for it. Like when she tried throwing everything away in her kid's messy room. Sure, it's realistic for parents to sometimes lose their cool, but kids should at least know that parents are still obligated to own up to bad behavior. Hell, I even give Papa Bear credit that he learned and grew by the end of the stories. Somehow Mama Bear losing her temper was never ever acknowledged as wrong, and she was treated as the altruistic figure of morality. I hated those books. Gene Belcher. I can't stand him. Grandpa Joe. What a jerk. Dr. John Dorian, or JD on Scrubs. I love the show and love each character, but JD's imagination and immaturity become super annoying the more you watch the show. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. These three have to be the most obnoxious tritagonists in anime. Abby Shudo, the solidly middle-aged goth girl on NCIS. No thank you, hard pass. The only way that role would be more annoying is if she was replaced by a French mime or the venom-spitting neck-frilled dinosaur from Jurassic Park. I think Jake Peralta. He seems lovely, but really, he keeps acting like a child and expects everyone around him to make up for it. The kind of guy everyone would hate working with. Peter Griffin. I can't watch the show because most of it is just him being a horrible person. Kramer. All 6 characters from Friends. Poochie. Though it's sad, he died going back to his home planet. Sam Puckett. Specifically when she bullies other people for laughs. Miss Piggy. Ted from How I Met Your Mother, so annoying for real. Bakugo from My Hero Academia. Jerry the Mouse is an awful creature who deserves everything Tom tries to dish out to him, yet he is somehow the hero even though he's stealing food from Tom's family and puts Tom in a position where if he can't catch Jerry, he will lose his home. Jerry institutes most of their fights, normally by being an asshole. I hate Jerry. Tom is an asshole, but Jerry is a monster. Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks. But in the movie, everyone loves that character. Tony Stark. I already roll my eyes at his ass existing in the first Avengers movie, and the more I hear about him, it seems he literally causes major plot problems. He's an egotistical peen, and doing the big selfless act at the end of each movie doesn't override him being a crap person that you wouldn't want to be around in reality. Not to forget him being only human seems to be riddled with more plot armor and OP suits than anything that takes effort. Hot take, Bruce Banner was held back from being the smart guy because Tony couldn't stay out of the camera for more than 2 seconds to spout another round of sci-fi logic. I always laughed in the first Avengers movie, where he argues with Captain America and says, "Everything that makes you great comes from a bottle," I thought said the guy in a power suit. Tony is also completely mistaken about that because in Captain America, it is explained that the serum only amplifies the qualities that are there, hence why Red Skull is how he is, and Cap is how he is. So actually all the bottle did was boost the qualities he already had. The entire cast of The Office, also basically any character Will Ferrell has ever played. Lucy Ricardo. I get that without her shenanigans, you have no show, but she's such an infantile brat. Lucy's attitude was a product of the time. She was meant to seem like a bumbling idiot housewife. Mickey Mouse. 0 redeeming traits, definitely not funny, yet millions of people, including adults, love him. So annoying. Seinfeld. Draco Malfoy. I truly don't understand why so many people like him. I thought the point is that he's actually not a badass and is just a punk bully under all his talk, because they have had a crush on Tom Felton, or his description in the books. If he looked like Crabbe or Goyle, I doubt he'd be as loved. I always get crap for this, but I despise Han Solo and hate pretty much every scene he was in. He's just not a nice guy at all. Too cocky / full of himself. There's a difference between confident and arrogant, and he comes across on the wrong side of that for me. I mean, that's sort of the point. He was the cowboy who hung out at the bar and told stories of all the amazing stuff he's claimed to have done. His bluff gets called, and he is put in a situation he can't swagger out of. Rey from the newest Star Wars trilogy. One-dimensional performance. Also still upset about what they've done to Finn in Episode 9. 11. Why did she regress into talking like a 4-year-old in the last season? Gina Linetti from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Harry Potter. Baby Yoda. Jesus. Dr. House. Jack Sparrow. The wasted staggering around act gets old fast. The Roadrunner against Wile E. Coyote. Robert California. The Office is my favorite show and there's no character more out of place than him. Also, he's not funny. Fran Fine. Everyone on the Goldbergs and everyone on Full House. Elon Musk. Thanks for watching until the end. Which characters do you find annoying? Tell us in the comments below. Then be sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you know when our next video is available. For more videos like this one, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.